commemoration that we come each and every year to remember not only the 146 young women and some men who perished in this fire, but also to be reminded about the importance of the work that we do in areas of health and safety. And for those of you that have joined us for many years, I thank you. Those of you that might be here for the first time, I want to thank you as well and hopefully that you'll make this an annual event. We're going to start out our program this morning hearing from the New York City Labor Chorus, which has been joining us for as many years as I can remember. But before we do that, I would like for us to just take a moment of silence in behalf of one of the members of one of the founders of the New York City Labor Chorus, Robert Bailey. Please join me for a moment of silence in our memory. Thank you very much. And with that, if I may ask the Labor Chorus to begin their program. Thank you. When do you know the work of there can be no power greater Everybody sing solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. It's the union, yes. Union makes us strong. They have taken up that they never talked. But without our brain and muscle, we can break their heart powers in our learn. Everybody sing solidarity solidarity forever. Oh, it's the union, yes. Union makes us strong. In our hands, greater than greater than the might of army. Thousandfold, we can bring to the new world. Everybody sing solidarity makes us Everybody, let's hear it for the New York City Labor Cars. Certainly thank them again for their participation today and certainly the many years that they have joined us. All right. Next up is the singing of the national anthem, and may I introduce Regina Wilson from the Fire Department of the City of New York. Please welcome Regina Wilson for the singing of the national anthem. See by the dawn's night, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad streaks and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streamed. the land of the free and the home of the brave. We thank you, Regina. That was lovely. The next person coming up is somebody who's been with us for a number of years who has really helped us put this program together and really helped us move it. His name is Jamil McKenzie, who's a singer, and he's also featured in the New York public school systems, and we certainly appreciate his participation. So let's hear it for Jamil McKenzie. By the river, in a little tent, and oh, just like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's out there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. I go to the movies and I go downtown, but people tell me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will. Then I go to my brother and I say, brother, help me, please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Oh, there've been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. Thank you very much, Jamil. Now, our first main speaker is somebody that I really have the honor and pleasure of introducing. A good friend of mine for many, many years, who's the co-founder of SAG-AFTRA, that great union representing theatrical workers. Her brother has been a strong advocate for workers and workers' rights for many years. She has been with us for many, many years, commemorating this extraordinary event, because she realizes the importance of what we do here each and every year. She and I also have a very, very profound love for a good friend of ours, Ed Vargas, who many of you know, Yeah, let's hear it, Van Vargas, who himself for many years was a dedicated individual who made sure that this program came together. Not only that, but did so much work in regard to workers' health and safety. Not only when he was with the union, but when he was with the state Department of Labor as well. So please join me in giving a big round of welcome to Roberta Reardon, the New York State Commissioner of Labor. Roberta.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is such an honor to join you today as we remember the victims who perished in this tragedy that completely changed the way we safeguard workers here in the state of New York and in the country. Thank you, Edgar, my dear friend, for that wonderful introduction. You know, Edgar, you have been a staunch defender of the rights and protections of workers for more than 5 decades, and you continue that work, yes, in your capacity as Secretary-Treasurer of Workers United. And congratulations on your continued success in the organizing efforts at Starbucks. I'd also like to acknowledge President of the New York City Labor Council, Vinny Alvarez. Vinny, thank you for all that you do on behalf of all the workers here in the city of New York. And lastly, I'd like to thank all of my partners in government who are here with us today. Every time I am here, I am reminded of my dear friend that Edgar just spoke about, the late, wonderful Ed Vargas. He was truly touched by this tragedy, and he made it his life's mission to protect workers. He was a driving force behind the permanent memorial, and he felt it was so important that we never forget what happened here, and the lasting impact that it had on all workers. I'd like to recognize Ed's wife, Liz Weiner, for helping to get the memorial project across the finish line. Thank you, Liz. This permanent tribute clearly means so much to all of us here today, and also to the many people who could not join us. I had the pleasure of sharing the stage at the memorial last year with Governor Hochul and Acting Secretary of Labor Julie Su. And, you know, at the unveiling, we were very moved. We could feel the weight of this incredible moment in history. And I think each of us walked away with a renewed sense of responsibility to the health and safety of all workers. The Department of Labor was born in the wake of the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire. A young Frances Perkins watched in horror as workers, many of whom were young women and girls, who died in that building blaze. The inferno inspired her crusade against dangerous working conditions. She envisioned a future where all workplaces were safe and hazard-free. The protocols that we reinforce today remain among her greatest accomplishments. And as your labor commissioner, I assure you we are doing everything in our power to honor her legacy. My colleagues from the Department of Worker Protection team are on the front lines, and they work tirelessly to protect workers. I have administered the oath of office to literally hundreds of these civil law enforcers over the last year. They are an extension of my authority as commissioner, and they stand ready to serve and protect all of their fellow New Yorkers. We are so fortunate for the unwavering support of Governor Hochul, from safeguarding our youngest workers to fighting to make victims of wage theft whole. She remains committed to the safety and well-being of every worker in the state of New York. The Shirtwaist Fire was a turning point to the modern American movement for workplace safety. As we remember the Triangle workers who died needlessly in this fire, we must also remember the uprising of 20,000 workers who attempted to prevent this tragedy. Just over a year before the fire, tens of thousands of workers, mostly women garment workers, went on an 11-week strike across the city to demand better pay, safer working conditions, and the right to unionize. The strikers won only a portion of their demands because they are owners of the Triangle Shirtwaist Company and other garment businesses used every tool available to them, both legal and illegal, to fight unionization. However, the uprising and the loss of so many lives in the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire sparked years of revolt that transformed the garment industry into one of the best organized trades in this country. This tragedy challenges all of us to continue to do our part, to stand together, to unite, to fight for safety. And that is one of the top priorities of the Department of Labor, because we believe that no worker should ever suffer this horrific fate again. Please join me now in remembering the victims of their fire and their families as we honor their legacy. Thank you. And today we remember Lizzie Adler, 24, Vincenzo Malota, 15, Vincenzo Benanti, 23, Yetta Berger, 18, Essie Bernstein, 19, and Gussie Bierman, 22.
Thank you, Commissioner Britton, for those heartfelt remarks. I see that another can have a copy of this book here. Those of you that don't have a copy, I would certainly encourage you to get one. It tells the story not only of the Triangle Fire, but it also tells the story of the memorial, which you'll hear a little bit about later from some of our speakers. But I would also, the books are open on the table. Okay, thank you, Louis. All right, if you haven't gotten the book, it's a really good book to look at. And make sure that you also take a look at the memorial if you haven't seen it. Many of you were here on October 11th of last year. We actually dedicated. We were hopeful that we would have it all completed by now, but we're almost there. And we have another major piece of the memorial that still has to be added. But you'll hear a little bit about that later. But I want to be sure that each and every one of you can certainly get a copy of this extraordinary book that tells the story and about the construction of the memorial itself. Our next group of speakers are going to be very interesting. All right, they are the Young Activists from El Puente, which is a youth-centered human rights organization. El Puente emphasizes education, the arts, environmental justice, and wellness to inspire leadership for social justice. El Puente founded the first public high school dedicated to human rights in the nation and leads the MS50 community school focused on inspiring youths to create lasting change. We are certainly excited and thrilled to have these young people to tell their story of the Triangle Fire. Let's give them a big round of applause, please.
Triangle was located in the top 3 floors of Nashville, just one block east of Washington Square Park.
The bosses, known for their fierce anti-unionism, were on the top floor.
Beneath them, hundreds of workers on the 8th and 9th floor filled long lanes of sewing machines. Many were sisters, friends, or neighbors. Fire broke.
During the moment between the start of the fire and when it began to spread, gave most of these workers the chance to escape. A warning was sent out to the 10th floor where the bosses worked. All but one person on the 10th floor was able to get out. On the 9th floor, there was no warning. The fire burned beneath them. In an instant, they were both employees.
The workers raced to find a path to escape. There were 2 staircases, a fire escape and an elevator. The Washington Place staircase was locked. No one on the 9th floor escaped through that exit. Others found the fire escape, which quickly filled with desperate workers. Some people were away from the building, dropping them to their death.
A barrel of machine gun by the last remaining staircase exploded.
The brave elevator operator was no match for the fast spreading flames. Soon workers were leaping into the elevator shaft to try and escape the fire.
On the street, witnesses watched in horror as the windows filled with the workers trapped by the fire. There was a moment of hope when a fire truck arrived, but the ladder could only reach the 6th floor, well below the burning loft.
In less than half an hour, 146 young workers, most of immigrants, most of Jewish or Italian American women and girls perished.
There was a trial despite the locked door. The owners were acquitted. Here is the 9th floor. Here is the 10th floor.
Here's the fire escape.
Here is the pavement made craftsman. Here is the elevator. Here is the scene.
Here are the triangle.
We remember the triangle sugar-based factory fire, mourn the dead, and fight like hell for the living.
All right, let's go hear it again for those young folks on Monday. It's obviously very important that they understand what happened here 114 years ago, because these are the people that will continue on fighting for social justice. We thank you very much, and to the leaders of El Puente for bringing them down and being part of our program. We are indeed honored to have our next speaker. We're honored because not only is she the first female commissioner of the fire department of New York, but is somebody that's very, very dedicated. And the fact that she took time to come here based on her busy schedule to join us to be part of this, I think it says a lot. So please welcome the first female fire commissioner of the city of New York, Laura Kavanaugh.
Thank you so much. It's my honor to be here, it really is. This morning, we've gathered at a site where more than a century ago, an unspeakable amount of lives were tragically and needlessly lost. For all of us in the FDNY, the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire serves as a tragic reminder of the importance of fire prevention and keeping our beloved city safe. Preventing fires is just as important to our mission as when we have to fight them, because it is fires that impact the most vulnerable. 113 years ago, the women in this building were forced to work in deplorable, crowded conditions. Getting to the exits was tough, fire drills were not conducted, exits were locked, and fire escapes were inadequate. Just 3 months before the fire, an FDNY chief testified about the potential for deadly fires in just these type of high-rise workshops that lacked fire protection and escape plans. He called for fire escapes, automatic sprinkler systems, and fire drills. At the time, these were seen as eyesores, a waste of money, and a waste of time. We know now, as we knew then, that those eyesores would have saved the lives of 146 women. This tragedy, and all tragic fires in the city, are the reason the FDNY is so passionate about fire prevention. Identifying fire hazards and dangerous conditions before they become a tragedy saves lives of citizens and of firefighters. Preventing fires is an ongoing battle defined by challenging fire threats and the new city landscape that is always changing. Today, our Bureau of Fire Prevention and the department constantly encounter new threats to the safety of New Yorkers and our members. Lithium-ion battery fires are on the rise, as is the discovery of unsafe living conditions. Recent inspections found and prevented 3 potential tragedies. Inspectors found people living in commercial storefronts illegally, in overcrowded conditions with little to no way to escape in a fire. Our dedicated inspectors identified and vacated these hazards, which would have also posed significant danger to the responding fire companies. Building codes and fire prevention codes, along with enforcement, keep all New Yorkers safe. Improving the safety in the buildings where we work and live is a job that will never end. We must remain vigilant, and we must continue to educate. Today, though, we remind you that the FDNY will always be here to remember the innocent lives lost, to honor their memory, and to work in their name to protect our city. Thank you. I'm going to ask ladder 20 to raise the ladder now. Thank you. And I'd like to read the names of some of those who remember today. Max Florin, Rose Friedman, Diana Gearjoy, Celia Gitlin, Esther Goldstein, and Bertha Greb.
Thank you very much, Commissioner, for those warm remarks. Let's give the Commissioner Kavanaugh another round of applause. And Commissioner, I hope this is something you'll get on your calendar to join us each and every year. We certainly appreciate it. I'd also like to acknowledge the presence of Chief of the Department, John Hutchins. John, where are you? Let me see you. I wave. Is John still here? There you are. Thank you very much for joining us as well. Appreciate it. And for the work and the contribution that you put together in bringing the fire truck here each and every year, we certainly appreciate that as well. Our next speaker is somebody who needs no introduction, Vinny Alvarez, who is the leader of the New York City Central Labor Council of 1 million members. I'm remiss in not saying that Vinny has been an extraordinary supporter of this event for so many years. Not only that, but he has dedicated much of his staff to help put this together in so many different aspects. Something like this doesn't happen by itself. People have to work on it. And without Vinny Alvarez, honestly, I don't think we would have been able to accomplish a lot of the things that we do, in addition to so many other people. There's a lot I can say about Vinny, but he doesn't like for me to talk and say nice things about him. So if you would, please join me in giving Vinny Alvarez, president of the New York City Central Labor Council, a very warm round of applause. Vinny Alvarez.
Thank you, Edgar. Very happy to be here once again with all of you for this commemoration. It's always cold, but it is warm to see. It warms my heart to see all of you out here every year. All of the unions. There's so many unions of the New York City Central Labor Council that are out here today. All of our brothers and sisters from so many different sectors throughout our economy out here today in commemoration of such a historic event and tragedy which happened all those years ago. And I'm honored to be here, as I said, representing 300 unions from across the city, over 1 million workers, the largest labor movement in this country, right here in New York City. This year, as we gather to honor the 146 souls who were lost on this site forever as a part of the fabric of our city and our labor movement. We're also, at the same time, we say this every year, we're reminded of the struggle for worker rights, for worker safety, for dignity on the job, and that ongoing fight continues today. This has always been about remembrance. It's been about education, reminding people about this event, what this event meant, not only for this city and for these workers, but for the country and for the world. And it's about advocacy. It's about making sure that we do more for the future. And the future of worker safety and worker rights. Last year, we saw about 70,000 workers across the city engage in strikes and in other actions. They want higher wages. That's right. You can clap for that. That was a big moment and a big year. I know some of you I see out there who were on strike last year. We want higher wages, more meaningful benefits, really things that were very important to those industries. And of course, better health and safety and workplace protections. And today, we also see so many, the immigrant story is tied to this, and we see so many recent arrivals coming here today who are dealing as well with unsafe work conditions. And we're out there standing side by side with them and making sure that they have the safe workplaces that they need and that they deserve. So it's a critical time. we continue to use the momentum that we won last year in those strikes and the victories that we saw to ensure that the voices of working people are heard and that all working people, they all receive the support that they need, just as the labor movement did after the tragedy 113 years ago. Because every worker, not only in this city, not only in this state, and not only in the country and the world, but they deserve to go home safely and healthy when their day's work is done and completed. So I want to thank you all for coming out here today. I want to thank Edgar. I want to thank Brendan and the Central Labor Council staff and all of those who put this event together. Every year they do it for us. They do it for this labor movement, and I want to thank them for their hard work. And thank you all for coming out today. And let us all pledge to recommit ourselves to carry out the legacy of the Triangle Fire tragedy, the Triangle Fire commemoration, remembering it in the years to come. Let us carry it forward today, tomorrow, and every day. Thank you all. Now, today, of course, we remember the following: Mary Herman, 40. Pauline Horowitz, 19 years old. Ida Tchaikovsky, 19. Ida Kanowitz, 18 years old. Tessie Kaplan, 18. And Becky Kessler, 19 years old.
Thank you very much, Benny. This next young lady, I wanted to have the honor and privilege of walking up to this microphone. She is one of 10,000 workers that are employed by a company by the name of Starbucks, who you all know recently begun to work out an agreement where we will have a path to organize the Starbucks workers in the United States of America, and that is a major, major accomplishment. Mariana Ayala is one of the brave people who stood up and spoke out and said what's happening to our company, in spite of the fact that they portrayed themselves as one of the best corporate firms in America and indeed around the world, but they were not. And it is amazing how these young people came together to organize themselves. 10,000 strong so far in 42 states in this country. That's amazing. And they did it and took advantage of social media. They communicated in ways that many of us never did before. And they too are the leaders of America and the leaders of this labor movement. So please give a warm welcome for Adriana Ayala, who's one of the Starbucks workers in reserve in one of the Starbucks facilities in Williamsburg, New York.
First of all, I want to say I'm grateful to be here representing my coworkers and all of the organizers, staffers, and workers that have been working on the Starbucks campaign. And this is a giant step forward that we've made with a joint statement from this company. And I kind of want to talk about how collective movement, community, and organizing ourselves and seeing the interconnectedness of all of these movements and all of our programs and organizations, and how with this is how we make these steps forward, how we gain visibility in our workplaces, and how you get people stirred up and talking and reflecting on how they feel, on the visibility they need. What is it that I don't get, that I need to get in my workplace? And when you show up unwaveringly, what you guys showing up today, the grace and the dignity you hold in this memorial and what we're doing is not only a commemoration of the lives, but also serves as the martyrism that they show us, and how this is why we need to keep fighting, why we need to keep making these big trudges, why we should not be afraid to make risks and speak out against companies and workplaces that are being unethical and unfair, because then we can bring ourselves to a table and start dismantling the system that has been built to oppress us. So with that being said, today we remember Jenny Lederman, 21, Kate Leone, 14, Mary Leventhal, 22, Jenny Levin, 19, Pauline Levin, 19, and Rosie Dearmark, 19. Thank you.
Now we've got some additional people that have joined us. In case you don't have a book, please get one right over here on the table. We appreciate you taking them. Our next speaker is somebody else that has been fighting for workers and for social justice. I've just had the pleasure of meeting him. So could you please welcome Antonio Solis, who is representing the delivery workers and also his fast lady.
Hola, hola. Buenos días a todos. Good morning, everyone. Mi nombre es Antonio Solís. Soy líder de los Deliveristas Unidos y nos unimos para recordar a los migrantes que murieron en una tragedia que pudo haberse prevenido.
Good morning, all. My name is Antonio Solís, and I'm leader of Los Deliveristas Unidos. And I'm here today to remember the migrants, the immigrants that died on a preventable tragedy.
Una tragedia que no fue un accidente.
And this was a tragedy of the Triangle Fruit Factory that was not an accident.
Una tragedia que mató a migrantes con los mismos sueños que tenemos los migrantes hoy en día.
To remember a tragedy that killed immigrants that had dreams, the same dreams that the immigrants of today have.
Una tragedia que seguirá en nuestras memorias y la cual nos inspira a seguir luchando por la seguridad de todos los migrantes que seguimos aquí.
A tragedy that will continue to push us to keep fighting for the safety of all workers and immigrants that we continue to work today.
Y como parte de los Deliveristas Unidos, seguiremos honrando la vida con nuestra lucha. Seguiré honrando por nuestras vidas que no son desechables.
So as part of that memory, as part of Los Deliveristas Unidos, I'll keep honoring those lives with our fight. We'll keep honoring them by fighting to ensure that our labor is no longer disposable.
Hoy honramos a los que siguen muriendo por culpa de empleadores abusivos y voy a leer los nombres de hermanos que han muerto.
And we're honoring for those that keep dying because of abusive employers. And I'm going to read some of those names of our brothers that have died because of the abuse of employers.
Today we number Rose Paznowski, 22. Rose Mel, 50. Jetta Layers, 90. Guy Vidal, 50. Annie Miller, 60. Becky Newbar, 90. Y la lucha sigue.
Our next speaker is another young activist. It's so good to see so many young people involved in the movement and doing this kind of work. One of the things that we do is fight for workers around the world that are taken advantage of, particularly in garment factories and by the big brands. One of the organizations that we work very, very closely with, and they've recruited a number of young activists around the country. An organization by the name called Pay Your Workers. We're proud to certainly work with them. One of the activists that are going to share a few comments with us this morning. And please give a warm round of applause. April Forward. April.
Hello. My name is Hazel, and I'm here representing Pay Your Workers NYU. We are a group of students at NYU committed to holding our institution accountable for its failures to uphold fair labor practices and protect workers' rights from New York to Thailand. We are a proud chapter of Students for International Labor Solidarity, a newly formed coalition of university groups and labor unions working together to apply pressure from our unique vantage points as both factory workers and students in order to achieve real results for garment workers. Right now, garment workers in Thailand who were robbed $800,000 by management during the pandemic are sewing our Nike branded collegiate apparel. NYU is an affiliate of the Worker Rights Consortium and received a report in 2021 outlining how Nike, who contracts Hong Seng Factory to make our apparel, is in violation of the WRC guidelines and NYU's own code of conduct. However, NYU has made no move to sever ties with Nike or pressure them to pay the over 3,300 Hong Seng workers owed. We as students demand NYU cut its contract with Nike until Nike pays those stolen wages. Today is the annual memorial for the lives lost in the tragic Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire, a catalyst of garment labor organizing in the United States. Yet, to this day, garment workers around the world are still exploited and abused. NYU, as a participant in this event, acknowledges the importance of labor rights. We ask that they extend this consideration to the thousands of workers in Thailand whose wages were stolen by their business partner. It was the same corporate greed that led to the death of 146 workers in this building, now owned by NYU. Students must stand in solidarity with the many workers who make our university what it is, and truly live up to the tagline of a university without walls. We will not stop making our voices heard until every garment worker, has dignity and security in their livelihood. Thank you. And now I would like to read the names. Today we remember Jacob Klein, 23, Becky Koppelman, 16, Bertha Pula, 19, Tilly Cooper-Schmidt, 16, Benjamin Kurtz, 19, and Mariana Labate, 16.
Thank you. Let's have another round, baby. All right, and we continue to support you in the work that you're doing. How we doing out there, okay? It's a little bit chilly. We're getting there. Let me just also acknowledge and thank so many of my colleagues from the New York City labor movement, a lot of unions that have joined us and are here with us each and every year, and I just want to thank each and every one of you. We're now going to hear another selection from Jamil. Please give Jamil a chance to get another round of applause as he comes up and gives us another rendition. Thank you.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. we'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. God is on our side. God is on our side. God is on our side today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. Can y'all help me sing that? We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jamil. I would certainly like to acknowledge a group of students who came with us from Brooklyn today, led by Janella Hines, the second night treasurer of the New York City Central Labor Council. Let's wave you and give a round of applause for the students from the High School of Public Service out of Brooklyn, New York. Thank you so much for being with us. My next speaker is somebody that I also have a great deal of honor and pleasure in introducing. Somebody that I've had the opportunity to work with for the last number of years. She's the president of the coalition of the president of the Triangle Fire Coalition. The person probably most responsible and did an enormous amount of work in helping to bring about the memorial that you saw, that you see here today, that was initially installed on October 11th of last year, and we still have, as I indicated a little while ago, some more work to do. But again, things don't happen by itself. We had to all go through a lot in order to accomplish this extraordinary task. And the person who led that effort on behalf of the coalition, and there's so many people involved, please put your hands together and welcome Mary Ann Toback, president of the Triangle Fire Coalition. Mary Ann.
Fellow workers and friends, my name is Mary Ann Toback, and I am with Remember the Triangle Fire Coalition. And I would like to thank you all for being here today. This is a wonderful turnout for a labor event that happened 113 years ago. And it is the first commemoration with the Triangle Fire Memorial in place. And that memorial tells the story of the fire and the movements for change that it inspired, and honors the workers who died that day in a beautiful and powerful way. And we at the Coalition and at the Central Labor Council and Workers United and everyone else who helped to build this memorial, we hope that it inspires people from near and far for decades to come. And just a couple of weeks ago, Bangladeshi labor organizer Kalpona Akhtar, for example, was here. And we hope that people from everywhere come and be inspired. Because even though the work of building and installing the memorial is nearly done, and I have to emphasize, nearly done, the ribbon that will go up to the 9th floor, the steel ribbon has yet to be installed, but the names and ages are there. The story of the fire, written beautifully by Kevin Baker, is there. The eyewitness testimony is there. And the story in Yiddish and Italian, making this the first trilingual memorial, as well as New York City's first labor memorial, that is all there. And we hope that the ribbon, our intent is for the ribbon to be there in the summer of 2024, this summer. But even though that memorial, this memorial, our memorial will be done, the work of fighting for dignity, justice, safety, and a good life, bread and roses for all workers everywhere and all people, not just the rich and powerful, that work never ends. As we stand here today, we recommit ourselves to that work, the work of building a better world for everyone. That is the legacy of the Triangle Fire, a terrible tragedy with a hopeful lesson. And what a beautiful and powerful legacy it is. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for visiting the memorial. Thank you for your support, and thank you for remembering the Triangle Fire. And so today we remember Abraham Binovitz, Ada Brooks, Francesca Caputo, Josephine Carlisi, Albina Caruso, Anna Cohen, and because an injury to one is an injury to all, we also remember the 111 miners who were killed on this day in 1947 when a mine explosion occurred in Centralia, Illinois. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne, for your work and your contribution in making all of this happen. Our final speaker for the day is Ann Toback, who's the CEO of Worker Circle, which fights for immigrants and workers' rights and encourages activism in the world of social justice. I've had the honor and pleasure of serving on the board of Worker Circle, and I can tell you that they do an extraordinary amount of work. It's really been a pleasure to work with Ann, and I want to really personally thank you, Ann, for your contribution of what you've done in helping us in this effort over the years. Ann Toback, please.
Thank you, Edgar. From our founding in 1900, when we served as an immigrant rights organization through succeeding decades, when we helped to build the union movement in America, to today, as we focus on protecting our United States democracy, the Workers' Circle has been a progressive Jewish social justice organization, passionately committed to standing up against intolerance, inequity, and bias. In 1911, we stood side by side with our brothers and sisters in the labor movement and mourned our members and friends who died in this tragedy. 146 workers, mostly young women, Jewish and Italian immigrants, who were forced to work in sweatshops where their lives were valued less than the shirtwaists they produced. A tragedy all the more heartbreaking because it could have been prevented. The Triangle factory owners were viciously anti-union and played a leading role in fighting the 1909 general strike of over 20,000 women. Women who walked off their jobs demanding safe working conditions, reasonable hours, and a living wage. The Triangle owners
continued their anti-union campaign even after the strike successfully concluded with over 85% of shirtwaist factories in New York organized. So with all of these factories covered by union contracts, the Triangle Factory remained unorganized and their owner's greed remained unchecked. And 146 workers paid the ultimate price. In 1911, the Workers' Circle buried 25 victims of the Triangle Fire, including Rose Mell, who was 15, and Sarah Cooper, who was 16. This year, as we remember the great loss of life in 1911, I urge us also to remember the activism that this tragedy inspired. Activism that led to the passing of OSHA regulations and the National Labor Relations Act. And let's also remember the activists who courageously took to the streets in 1909 and again after the Triangle Factory fire became leaders in the fight for the women's right to vote. They knew that the vote was a critical component for protecting their rights as workers and as women, and it's still that today. Today, the right to vote for millions of people is in jeopardy, and voting remains crucial in our fight to keep the United States as a 21st century promised land for everyone, for workers, for immigrants, and for the people of every race and ethnicity whose diversity truly makes us a country of opportunity for all. So as we recite the names of the 146 victims, let's remember and commit in their memory to answering today's call to action for immigrant rights, for worker safety, and to protect our vote and keep our democracy alive and growing. Today, we remember Anna Coletti, 36, Sarah Cooper, 16, Clara Dockman, 19, Dora Evans, 18, Rebecca Fibish, 20, Yetta Fichtenholz, 18. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ann. As we come to a close, I just want to do two other things. One is to acknowledge the New York Inspector General, Lucy Mang, and Eloy Gomez, who is from the Workmen's Compensation Board. We thank you for being here, joining us as well. I would also like the family members, the victims of the Triangle Fire, who I understand would like to place a flower next to the name on the memorial itself. So if I can ask you to gather at the corner over there, and we'll organize that event. One couple of other acknowledgments. This is actually the 20th anniversary of Chalk. I'd like to acknowledge Ruth Circa, who was with us, who created Chalk, and the hundreds of chalkers. Where are you, Ruth? Thank you very much. All right. And for the past 20 years, we have made the lives of triangle workers visible on the streets of New York City, and whose commitment led to the founding of every member of the Triangle Fire Coalition. Another announcement this evening at 6 o'clock, there will be a panel on making the Triangle Fire Memorial at the Center for Architecture at 536 LaGuardia Place, right here in New York City. And one final announcement, on a collective ribbon, which is on view at Casa Italiana. The collective ribbon and a sewing machine from the original building can be seen through March 29th, which will be the end of this week at New York City's Casa Italiana at 24 West 12th Street. And brothers and ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our program today. Let me thank you all once again for being here. You should understand and give yourself a round of applause for that. It's meaningful that we come out and do this each and every year. I thank you again for being here, and we look forward to seeing each and every one of you again 100 lost their lives. 100. Oh, and again, the final announcement. We have some more books. All right, we have some more books. It really is a wonderful, wonderful